Morning. This is a a photograph I took yesterday on our bike ride along the Wandle. It's all very much overgrown at the moment. These nettles need trimming quite seriously, otherwise you can't see the river. It's uh, it's the River Wandle in South London. My local little river flows from Croydon or Caterham to the Thames through Carshalton, Wallington, Mitcham, Earlsfield, and comes out at a lovely pub called the Ship Inn at Wandsworth Bridge. Right, so um, I'm going to use oil paint. I love my oil paint. Make room for my pot. So I'm using some medium, some walnut oil and alkyd walnut oil mixed together for fast drying and to lubricate. Now, one of my favourite artists was a guy called Arthur. It is a guy called Arthur Maddison, artist called Arthur Maddison, and I first came across him through a Ron Ranson book on modern impressionists. And Arthur is one of those a superb artist, but he was using sort of Monet methods uh, with lovely colours, lots of dots and dashes. But I think even he got fed up with putting all the dots in, and his brushwork has become much more slurred and large, to say the same thing but in a slightly different way. And I'm using quite a high key palette for this one. I'm using cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow deep, alizarin crimson, cadmium red, ultramarine, cobalt, emerald green and viridian. 2, 4, 6, 8 colours. The sky, well, I'm not going to do the sky as the photograph. I'm going to invent a sky, but first we need to put on some colour. So let's have some cobalt and a bit of white, a bit of medium, and we'll just start to, oh dear, that's no good, is it? There's not much we can do. Oh, let's see if I can adjust it. There's not much I can do that. It's a bit of backlash. I just wonder. No, there's very little I could do with that. No, we'll have to put it on. Sorry about that. There's going to be a lot of banging. But anyway, just put some colour in, plenty of oil, a bit of white, cobalt. If I hold it a bit, just get a mix of colours. Not doing any drawing, I'm just going straight in with the paint. Kill the burnt sienna underneath the ground colour. It's a piece of watercolour paper which had a demo on. Just put in a bit of the river, just it's coming down here, going off there. We cycle along here every week, me and my pals. So if I do that the direction that the river's flowing, it's darker in there. You wouldn't believe this lovely little river is surrounded by houses and factory estates, housing estates. Very heavily built up. Right, now, I'm not using any medium to clean my brushes. I'm just going to use this toweling, bit of toweling here. Old nappies. I put on Facebook a call for clean old nappies. You know, they're very good painting rags because they've got this rough edge. They get into the brush, and I don't like using solvent during the painting session because it's not very good for your chest. So let's have a, we've got this brilliant yellow yellow green. So a bit of viridian and a bit of cadmium yellow. Light. And just do this while it's all wet. As it dries or goes tacky, it won't dry. It won't be dry till tomorrow. But you've got these reeds. But it's to try to get a bit of white with that, just to make a greyer green. Just using the fitch here, just on the edge. And a bit of darker green. So we'll have, let's mix a bit of cadmium, cadmium yellow deep. We'll put in some darker. Can make a bit of alizarin with it. Then make a darker green. We need to counter change all the time, light against dark, complementary colours. We'll put in a bit more light in a minute. So let's get some nice light in the sky. So cadmium yellow deep, a bit of cad red, a load of white, a load of medium. We're having some lovely weather in London. Well, and over the UK. But the fires have started in some of the moors. I want to cover all of this. Light as we come to the horizon, but we're not aiming for any reality. We're just creating a painting. I've got the camera, the webcam right in front of my face. Another great one for this sort of painting was Laszlo Ritter, and I knew Laszlo for a short while. Right, okay, so let's put in some dark banks now. So alizarin and viridian, plenty of oil. Look at the oil. It'll probably be running with a lot of shadow, reflection. I'm going into sort of the light area here. Some dark in there, and a lot of dark in there, over which we can superimpose some lighter greens. Viridian mixes very well with alizarin. Alizarin crimson mixes with the viridian. It makes a lovely, rich, dark green, mauvey green, lovely. Trees up there. Look at that. It's the shadow area there, looking into the depth of the nettles. Let's go back here. This is only a small piece of paper. It's about 11 inches by 7, and that's coming up there. That's where the trees are going up in here. And try mixing a bit of yellow, cad yellow with it. Now, I'm not copying the photograph, I'm just copying the masses really. I suppose for that, this sort of painting, Monet, Sisley, Pissarro, but this is a demonstration of my my take on it. Now we've got a lot of very, very light yellow coming up here. Let's just put some of that in. It's cadmium yellow, just a touch of green. What I'm aiming for is a sort of a web of colour with the undercolour. Can't think of another word for it. Shining through. Got some white in there. Preserving some of the shadow. Put some leaves in. Very light, catching the sun. And we can go for the tones later on as we progress. I'll give myself maximum of an hour so to do this, so you can always wind forward, can't you? Okay. The dark coming round the river, down here where it meets, it goes into there. Okay, what have we got? It looks quite good with the ground colour coming through, but I'm not going to leave it like that. Let's put some darker sky back in. Let's put some bit of shadow in there. A bit of alizarin. A bit more pigment in that. It all blending. Lighter stuff. So you can be creative with all this sort of painting, just have fun with it. I published one on Facebook that I did about 20 years ago of a French scene. With some hills and trees, but it took me a lot longer than this would take. It took me about 3 or 4 days, and then some. Right, let's get some good darks in there. So the alizarin, no black on this one. Thicker paint on this bit. These are all winter colours or Daler Rowney. They're student qualities, and I don't muck about with expensive. Paints, can't afford it. So unless you start chucking money at my Patreon, my Patreon, you have to stay with the old cheaper stuff. Right, a bit of ultramarine in that, a bit of ultramarine red. And alizarin. Alizarin's a very, very, no, the viridian's very, very good green. You don't have to use it neat. Well, a lot of dark here because we're going to put some light across there. bit darker than that, so that's as dark as I can get now. My brush is quite sort of bent, isn't it? Like. So we're not dark enough. But they look darker when I put the lights on. The light meaning the light colours. See, my mate Alan Owen put an oil painting on yesterday. It was very nice. Really enjoyed watching that one. Watching on the big screen. I was watching Chrissy Canvas Art. She's a very unusual painter. When I say unusual, I mean unique, original, doing acrylic. That's the biggest tree in the lot, right? Okay, now let's get in some light. I'm going to use one brush and a cup of tea getting cold. Okay, let's get in with this lovely greeny light, plenty of oil. So you can put the colour on, and then you can adjust it with the darks later on. So they're coming down there, up there. But don't try and be too literal. If you're working with photographs, don't try and be literal. Do your own thing with it. Just use them as a guide. So the light, I can't remember where the light was coming from, because imagine it was coming from here, coming down from there. But it would have been about 11 o'clock, so the sun would have been coming up to very high. Let's modify it, that with a bit of cad yellow and maybe a touch of red to warm up some bits and pieces here. I will put some red in this. It's just a case of working at it till you've got something that you like. Right, let's get those really good lights back in there now. So a touch of that viridian and the yellow. So we get this nice comes down into that bank. So by using all this oil, it doesn't lighten the colour, it doesn't bleed into what's underneath it, it stays where you put it. That's the lovely thing about it. And we'll just get some of those coming over into the water. Oh, a little bit bright, it's catching the... Right, just want to justify that bank there now, so we go back with the alizarin and viridian. But the alizarin crimson is very, very much dark, or more saturated than the viridian. It's quite a weak colour. This is a reflection and shadow. See how that's coming on. Let's I'm looking for greens in here. There are some very darkish greens. We'll just put some of them in there. I can see some light greens in there, so we'll put them in. There's a lot of light green in this tree here. A bit more white. You can't paint every blade of grass or leaf on the tree unless you're Michael Smith, who's brilliant at it. You have to find a sort of shorthand way of doing it that says it all in a few strokes rather than an individual picked out object. And there's a lot of light in here because this is really catching the highlights of okay. Don't want patterns. Right, let's darken that river a bit. Get these acid greens in there. Well, that's my way of describing. This is weed. And there's a lot of it. They clear it out, the Environment Agency guys, they clear it out of this often. Very disturbing on Countryfile, one of our great documentary programmes on the BBC, which goes out Sunday nights. About only 20% of our rivers are in good condition. That's sad. Because of the sewage they release into it, far more than was ever expected or planned for. Right, now we need to get some light back in the sky, so I haven't used much ultramarine, I'm using cobalt here. But a lot of white in it now because I want to... Well, I can use a bit of ultra. You can mix ultramarine with cobalt if you wish. So let's get these in. Want some very light cobalt on here. This doesn't take long to do, it takes long to fiddle with. Now we've got to get some dark greens around there to show some pondweed, and a bit of darker blue in here. It reflects in the sky. I'll do a bit more work on the sky. Right, let's get some good light in there now. Okay. Right, some light greens. So it's catching the highlights of picking up a little bit from the sky. Just a little bit there. Right, now I want to put a bit of dark green in there. So a bit of yellow, a bit of viridian, bit of red. And that's where that dark is going into the distance, and then we're just putting in some green here just to separate. That's the alizarin and the viridian. Let's get these bits of shadow in here. Okay, now there'll be much more white in there, but not pure white. We need just a touch of the green, because these are real, like the high spots. Going to do this bit of work in the sky. Right, now that needs to be darker blue there. Otherwise, darken with a bit of red. Got to separate it from the similar tone. Nearly there. Right, just some of those whites. You need more white than any other colour, of course. Okay. Nice white. Right, you've got to have plenty of medium. So it's just sort of very slightly white green. Just a few well chosen. I'm going to leave that. Go back and get some lighter lights on the top of here. Well, I hope you're going to like this. Yeah, I don't just do watercolour. I like watercolour, but it's too warm for watercolour. It'll dry too so quick in the atmosphere. It's a bit too white there. Some darks back there, I think. I'm not too far from being finished now. That's what I'm going to do. Now this is where we've got the lights, if I can get them in. So I show the bank which is in shadow. Of course the camera does overexpose. Right. I've left one of the trees out there, in between there, by error or rather than anything else. Right, let's just get that more dark in here. And some more light green in there. Right, I want some lighter green. And just a touch in there. Right, let's put in some bits of red or orangey to complement all these greens. Oh, that's overdone, isn't it? Right, sky. Clean the brush. And we'll put more lines back in that sky now. So yellow, red, white, oil. I've got a violet hue and I've meant to put it out, but I didn't. I forgot. But we've done without it so far. But it's nice having a bit of. I will put some in if I can get the lid off. I haven't used it for years. All right. Oops, sorry. Come back a bit. Right, bit of where's me purple. Oh my god, I didn't get that. Just did. Cobalt violet hue. Look, there we are. Look, the lid's well stuck, and I bet when I put my wrench on the lid, there's a big lids, finger friendly, but not when they're old. That's the lid salad. Look, see the crack? Look, gone. It's so brittle. They used to do these in 120mm tubes, but now that's no good. They're either 37mm or 200. Well, I haven't used this in all those years. Ah, got it. Just come in. Some of them I had to put cling film over, shrink wrap. Just use a little bit of that. Right, push what? Look, the lid is just disintegrated. I've been ordered to help do a bit of gardening this afternoon. See if I can go on this well. Right, okay. Put the bits of plastic up later. Where's my brush? Right, now, bit of cobalt. Although only a hue. There's a bit of white with it, so we just flex. We can even put a bit of red in the sky because we've got loads and loads of green. And violet, cobalt violet is complementary to yellow. Let's go back with a bit of red now. Okay, red. Very, very weak. Create this sort of web of colour. Might have to do something there. A bit of light. Soften a little bit here and there. Right. So I'm enjoying it. I haven't quite captured the light. Well, let's get some light blue now, really light blue. Let's put that back. See the ground colour, that burnt sienna I put on the, well, it's really to obliterate the painting that was underneath it. Okay, well, there we go. I'm going to let that go. That's a demonstration. I don't think it's a bad one. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I'll show you my palette now, if you can bear it. That's there's my palette. So there we've got the cadmium yellow pale, deep, that bit of violet, cobalt violet hue, alizarin crimson, here's my white, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, cobalt blue, emerald green, and the viridian. So there we are. Let's come back up again. And I'll put that in a mount. Because it's a webcam, I can't zoom much on it. So I'm going to put it in a mount. You'll see a bit of the masking tape, but never mind. Right, let's just clip it. Right, let's just come back out of it. Well, there we are, the River Wandle. It's probably, I could soften that a little bit, so I'll just use a bit of viridian, a bit of yellow, a bit of oil, and just with a bit of that green, just soften. It's just a bit too hard edged. We want a sort of a graduation. So it's not too obvious. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed that. It's a bit different, isn't it, to what I normally do. Oh, there we are. It's an impression of the River Wandle from a photograph I took yesterday. I'll show you the photograph. There we are. And that's my version of it. I think probably a bit more light in the water, in the blues. So let's just do that. Because I've lost it a little bit. Well, more ways than one. Maybe that was the wrong colour. Let's get that cadmium yellow. A touch of the red. Put that in. So you do need quite a lot of oil. It's not picking up much. You've got to get that, well, it's got to get that colour, that sky colour. Not a lot of reflection there. Those trees, there is a bit. Now this is where you start ruining the picture. That blue back. I very rarely use cobalt blue. I'm an ultramarine man myself. It's just that bit of light I want to capture coming through there. Okay, well I don't think I can do much more to that. No, just fiddling it to death now. Okay folks, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.